Time for another Soccer Down here 1v1. And for this one, we catch up with an old friend here in the Southeast who is now in the Northeast, and he is plugged into AC Newport. Ziggy Korytoski. Ziggy, good to see you, my friend. Good to hear from you. What's the latest?
You too, John. Well, waiting for the weather to clear out. We don't have that southern hospitality with the weather fronts coming in, but really enjoying it up back in New England. So
All right. So, how did this go down? A lot of folks here in the Southeast remember your time that you had with Chattanooga with the Red Wolves and everything out west. So, how do you go from the west to Chattanooga to Newport? How does this come to be?
yeah, we had a ton of success when I left Guatemala. We ended up in Antigua and helped building that program out, who continues to excel. Took the position out in San Diego with the NISA team when ASC merged with 1904, kind of merged with Albia in San Diego. Had a ton of success there. We ended up in the first year in the final. Got hired out in Chattanooga for a brief spell. Think some things aren't always what they appear to be, behind the scenes, but it's obviously an organization I wish nothing but the best for. And we had some options kind of coming back out, and being from New England originally, we decided to kind of come up in this direction. And then over the last couple of years, some friends of mine had a thought and an idea on this project, and that's how I got dragged back into the game that I love. Even when you try to get out of it, it keeps bringing you back. So I'm blessed, I'm fortunate, and got some really good partners within this project. So I'm really, really excited about what it has to offer.
For those that may not know about the Northeast and Rhode Island and what soccer means to the footprint, how would you explain it to somebody?
In terms of, say that one more time. Sorry, John.
Just, for someone who hasn't been up to Rhode Island and hasn't really been in the Northeast and has been as anchored in the Northeast as you have, how would you explain what soccer means? How would you break it down?
I mean, it's extremely passionate. I mean, in terms of it, I think you could almost make an argument that, I mean, obviously with Region One, went back in the ODP days and how it was all divided. New Jersey was a hotbed, obviously, for it. Big pieces of our national team. Coming out of St. Louis, coming out of the Midwest, coming out there. I think Region Three down in the South now, Florida, the Carolinas have expanded. Texas as well as California are kind of your focal points now. But I just I'd almost compare the energy and passion for what people want to see to what you see in SEC football in the South. Just in terms of just the connection, and we've got the numbers. You've got New England, you can get across Rhode Island in 45 minutes. So in 2 hours, and you're in New Hampshire, you've gone through Massachusetts. So you can really kind of get around. But I think with the Revs and what they've done has been is exciting, especially with the new stadium that they have coming in Everett in the future there, as well as Rhode Island FC, which has been off to a phenomenal start. The Johnsons have been just tremendous in terms of what they've done for the community. And so, for us to be here in Newport on a literal island in Rhode Island, it's it's an opportunity to kind of just build something from the ground up for the community. And I'm really excited about something I'm passionate about for sure.
Have you always thought of yourself as a builder when it comes to franchises in the game and growing the game in general, or is building something from scratch something relatively new for you in your soccer DNA?
No, I think that I think it's been a part of it, and obviously I've worn a number of hats throughout my career, from sporting directors to coaching to the youth organization and structure. So I think it just when you spend 25 years in the game, and respectfully, you have a lot of disagreements with owners or presidents or other directions of where they think the game goes, who might not necessarily understand the game but come from the business acumen of what they know. I just got to that point where I was like, you know what, if I want to do this, I think I want to do it myself. And I've got the business partners now to kind of make sure that we are aligned and we can create a project, with true soccer direction. Because I think there's money within the game from a business point, But I think the way you go about it and the integrity of building something, from the ground up is extremely important. And I see the youth model and I see, just kids paying thousands and thousands of dollars to go out there and play. And I'm seeing, you know, I've seen the inside of what we pay players, and obviously the challenges of the CBA and the USL right now and everything going on. So, obviously we'll have our challenges in year one. It's kind of a rip the Band-Aid off. Here we go, World Cup year, be excited. But I'm looking forward to being that part. So I would say the building excites me, and we've built wins and teams and such. Now we have a chance to build an organization that has a true mission that we believe in.
There is an alphabet soup out there these days when it comes to leagues and engagement and where you want to be and where you think you fit. And is it League One, League Two? Is it this developmental league? What was it about the NPSL that attracted you and the rest of the ownership group to want to be a part of things in the North Atlantic Conference?
Well, just we had my time when I built Albion San Diego and ASC San Diego. We had a lot of success, lost in the semis to the Cosmos that year with their massive budget. And we were, this really well put together team coming out of San Diego. And we had a great pool of players. So I know the league is something I'm very comfortable with. I think that you can, that first team that we had built coming out of an NPSL team, believe it or not, we sold, I think, 9 players into the NISA league from an amateur position, within it, because as the players and contracts and all those things were kind of set. So, I think there's a print within it, within the game, when you can create that necessity. And as NISA was developing, the timing was perfect. So, I think that it's, again, San Diego, the NPSL, the people that I've worked with, from Gary and Cindy and Dina and all, I've just always had that the utmost respect for them, and I think they do a really good job within the organization. So that's why, it made the most sense, in my opinion, to partner up and join the league.
When it comes to this season and being a part of things in the North Atlantic, I'm sure that there are a lot of folks that sit there and go, "Oh yeah, yeah, season's over there." It's in the middle of the calendar. It's a couple of months away or whatever. But I'm sure that you and everybody else are like, no, 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 you don't quite understand. We have to get to that point. We've got to hit it running as we go. How big is the to-do list right now? Where do you think you are on it so you can be ready to launch to take on ASC New York and New Haven and Shockers and Osners and Santa Cruz? Where are you right now?
We are at the starting line. We are, we are, I think what we always say is I think within this organization, there's going to be things that we do that are probably a 9 and a 10. Like we'll be really, really good at. And there's some things right now that we're probably 4 or 5 as we're, creating the business structure and the model. And as you're hiring and you're bringing in people to kind of get to that point. So, we're still identifying players. And I do know the league because you've got a good group of local guys that will be committed. You'll mix it in with some college players, once their season wraps up. And then, as players fall through that are still chasing a dream at the League One level, maybe that you can kind of complement them and bring them in. So from a team formation, I think we're right where we want to be. But, again, we're still identifying, the travel and, the tickets and, kind of those platforms. And I think as a new ownership group that kind of came into at the time that we did, we knew that there were going to be some uphill challenges, but it's one that we accepted because we know what the future is going to bring, and it's getting through this year, making sure we've got a good product. We're as professional as we can be within it. And then we can, in turn, as we go into year 2 and year 3, I think we'll be able to look back, evaluate, take a deep breath, and kind of come up with that roadmap for success. So it was a little bit strategic, particularly being a World Cup year, because I think it's going to be a ton of excitement. 7 games at Gillette, in terms of the side. So, we're very fortunate, in the Northeast to have that sort of a platform around us.
Ziggy Korytoski, AC Newport sporting director, head coach, Grand Exalted Poobah. He probably uses both sides of the business card these days when it comes to the build there in the NPSL, hanging out with us for a soccer down here 1v1. I know that you're also looking for a specific kind of individual because you can only do the first time once. You can't have like year 2 of the first time that you're building something. When it comes to the right kind of person to be a part of this build, off the field, on the field? What kind of person are you looking for so you can hit the ground running and have everyone learn and be successful and grow from year one to year two?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want guys with character and integrity. And, one of the things that as a coach, even within whether that's within the staff or whether that's, in an organization, I just you want people that get things done. There's a lot of people who talk out there could sit and say, oh, well, we should do this, that, but the people that actually can roll up their sleeves and you can see it on a player, whether they're industrious, they do all that dirty work and allow those other things. And in most teams, as we talk, it's you probably need nine piano carriers and two piano players. And unfortunately, the game's gone to the point where everything thinks that they can play the piano. And so, I think we're at this point where we're learning each other. I think I again really proud of the ownership group and the leadership group and the people that we've identified within the community that are rolling up their sleeves, that and they're making sure that we have what we need, from the facilities to the travel to the sponsors around that are getting excited as we explore. So again, that's where I'm excited. And obviously you always wish you had more time, and it's like, hey, it's coming, and I've been in it like it's coming, and now it's almost here, and it's time. It's almost time to turn on the lights for the game.
When is match day one?
Scheduled right now for May 3rd, second or third that weekend. So, like I said, we're a couple weeks away, and it's coming.
Are you and everybody else getting any rest right now?
None, and absolutely not. But enjoy it. It's tough because obviously with there's just so much to do, and then with life and kids and trying to get the balance within that part of it. And I think as everybody within our team, it's when we make a commitment, you're going to follow through, whether or not it's $150,000 contract to a volunteer position, which we're all in right now in terms of getting it all together. It's, you just do the work, and you don't want to let down the people around in the community, and you have a passion for it. And you want to share that. You want to bring people on board. And I think we're doing a really great job of that. Tommy Lofborough, Cam Appleton, have been tremendous. We were the three forming members. Dylan came on board. Heather Rusum has been phenomenal in terms of name dropping. Ralph Kraft in the community. So, as I look at what we have, I do feel very fortunate. And Newport in the summer, it's an unbelievable place to be. So, I'm excited for, like I said, year one.
When it comes to what was the easiest thing to cross off the to-do list, and what is the hardest thing that you probably still haven't crossed off the to-do list that still needs to get done?
The easiest thing was probably I mean, the easiest thing was, I think, when Tommy and I made the decision initially to say, "Hey, we're going to do this." He was passionate. He played in college, and then he got in and became a pro sailor, and kind of went through that whole side of it, right? And so, Cam's another pro athlete out of New Zealand. So we've got guys that maybe didn't play the game at the highest level, but know what professional sports is all about, racing in America's Cup and, things along those lines. So, they've got a standard of excellence, which I really admire, and I'm excited for on that. Most difficult thing is probably more so on the business structure, making sure things are aligned and rules and regulations, and that side, the team formation, it comes and as the players come in, there's so many players around the country, that are looking for places to play and just want to continue to chase a dream. So, I think, in terms of that, we're okay. But I think it's just making sure everybody, like, it's the definition of roles. It's no different than a team, and you see it in today's game where you've got coaches asking center backs to probe through and kind of come up through, out of the back. And I'm looking at him saying, just give the ball to that guy. He's the 10. Let him make the play and let it go. But that's how I see the game, and kind of getting those points. And, heaven forbid you tell a young player, oh, you can't do that. It's like, well, my dad told me I could when I was 12. So I'm going to try this. But there's certain reasons why Carl Skill makes the money he makes. It's like that's a guy that you get the ball to, and you can. It just there's a. I actually to put into the terms in the South, it probably make a ton of like. you've got one quarterback and he gets the ball to the skill guys and he gets out of the way and lets it go. And it takes a discipline. Not everybody can be the man all the time, but you're a team and it's a collective, and that ball is a star type of a thing. But that's a message and culture that is challenging for some because everybody wants to be the man, and it's like, hey, we need to win and you need to do your job really well, because if you don't, then somebody else is going to have to carry the load. And I think that goes into the business as well. When things don't get executed behind the scenes, I don't think we're a group that's going to let it drop. We're just somebody's going to pick up and going to do it, but you don't want to let the other person down. And that's the biggest thing. It's like the brotherhood of, we always say is best part of a team is not, it's not knowing that the guy next to you has your back, but it's knowing that you have his, and I think when people kind of capture that, belief, then your unit becomes really, really strong.
What is the expectation on the field in year one then?
Oh, we're going to win it. We're going all the way. No, I just want to get through game one. No, look, I believe in our abilities to put a team together. I think that it's going to be exciting. I think that we're going to be a team that nobody sees coming, at the end of the day, but the game's got to be played, and I think that we'll be organized. I think we're going to be a team that wants to keep the ball. So we'll be looking for certain types of players. We've got some good relationships, that I've built over my career to try to identify some guys. And so I think that, we want to put out something that we can all be proud of, because like you said, it's year one and you got one chance for that initial year. And and I think that that's going to help attract sponsors. It's going to attract more players. And, as the word kind of gets out, because like I'm still getting calls, so in terms of players that want to be a part, they're like, hey, I want to be in this. Like it's unbelievable. And everybody knows Newport in the summer is a very special place. So, but I think that I'd like to see us find a way to be a playoff team at some level, and furthermore, if there's any way to qualify for that Open Cup in the, just so that you've got momentum, would be tremendous. But that I think for us as owners, we're looking to have it off the ground, have people be a part of it in the community, us being into the schools, and then and just really being good community members.
Is there any truth to the rumor that either Dennis Conner or Paul Kayard is going to be giving the pregame speech at the first home match?
So that's going to be a Tommy question. I'm going to hold off on that one. I'll pass the buck on that one.
I just figured I would ask and see if one of the two of them might be raising a sail in the end zone or something.
Exactly.
Ceremonial bit. Ziggy, it's great to catch up with you, my friend. Great to see what's going on. It's at acnewport.com. You can follow there and all the socials with AC Newport. One of the new folks in the NAC when it comes to the NPSL in 2026. It's always great to see you, my friend. Good luck. We'll be keeping an eye on you. Catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.